Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be filming my spring TBR. I know it's a little bit early, but I do like to look ahead for the seasons. This is kind of like a March, April, May TBR, if you will. We're going to lump those 3 months together for spring. And as always, I will have this video divided by genre. So I have cozy mysteries, general kind of mysteries, thrillers, and like one random nonfiction and one random classic. So let's dive into cozy mysteries starting off. Okay, so the first one I'm so excited and sad about because it's the last book in the series, and it's a series I've been loving. And this is Rhythm and Clues, The Record Shop Mysteries by Olivia Black. So as far as I know, this is book 3 and the last book in the series, and I am so sad about that. But this one takes place in the small town in Texas. Our main character is Junie Jessup, and she and her 2 older sisters run a record shop slash like coffee shop together. And it's this I love the sister dynamics. I love them. They have a little orange cat who has adopted them. And I just really love the dialogue. I love the relationships between the sisters. I think the town feels very, like, it really comes alive on paper. I think the record shop is a really fun theme, even though I am personally very much, like, I do not know music at all. Like, I'm really bad with music, but I think it's really fun. I love all the coffee scenes. And in this one, the vinyl record shop is under pressure from these predatory investors, and I think one of the investors ends up dead, launching our mystery. So I'm really excited. I hope the story feels a little bit wrapped up with some of the subplots, because I believe this is the last one and I'm just not, it's really bittersweet, but I do want to read this spring. I feel like this entire series to me feels very spring and summery because it takes place in Texas. The second book definitely is a spring read. It has like a Bluebonnet Festival, which is amazing. I just read that. I don't know what time of year this technically takes place in, but I feel like this is a great spring and like summer cozy series because of the setting. Speaking of finishing series, this one, as far as I know, the series is over, or at least I haven't seen anything about additional releases. And this is Murder Off the Books by Tamara Berry. This is the By the Books mystery series. It's book 3 in the series. These covers are so bright and fun. And what I love about Tamara Berry's writing above all else is she is so like witty and funny. There's like such humor infused in her writing, and I also feel like compared to most cozies, I feel like most cozies are a little bit, they're like medium paced. They're not slow usually, but they're not really fast paced. But I feel like Tamara Berry writes very like quick paced, like, I don't know, she just gets the ball rolling. I always feel like I'm going down a hill. I lost my earring because I got so excited there. Earring is back. But in this one we have our main character Tess and her teenage daughter, who I adore. I think they are such a great duo, and they live in this little cabin in a very remote small town, and Tess is actually a thriller writer. So it's hilarious because she thinks she knows so much about crime investigation because of her thriller writing stuff. So you have a bookish element with that, and in this one they're opening a bookshop, and her mother arrives unannounced. I think they have kind of an estranged relationship, and she has her boyfriend in tow, who Tess doesn't trust whatsoever. It's not, she thinks maybe he's trying to like swindle her wealthy mother, something like that. The boyfriend ends up dead. Drama ensues, and I'm just so excited. I don't know why I picked this up in Ashland. I've been meaning to read it, and this is my sign, but I just feel like it looks, to me at least, like kind of spring or summery. I don't know, so I've been kind of holding off for that. Another one that has like the springiest cover and I've been meaning to get to, and I've been so excited, is The Shadow of Death by Philippa Nefri Clark. It's a Daphne Jones mystery, weddings, funerals, and sleuthing. Look at that cover. Is that not gorgeous? I'm just like, yes please. And also, I don't know the author personally, but if this is not like a reimagined Daphne Blake from Scooby-Doo, then I don't know what to say, because her and her husband travel around the country in a caravan named Bluebell, which I really like. Oh, is it Bluebell? I think it's Bluebell. You can kind of see right here. Her husband's name is not Fred, but his last name is their last name is Jones, like Fred Jones married Daphne, so now she's Daphne Jones. She's got red hair. She's a wedding slash funeral officiant, which I could definitely see Daphne getting into, and it just gives me the best like kind of grown-up Scooby-Doo vibes ever. So I'm just saying, there's too many coincidences for, I mean, they're high school sweethearts too. I'm like, okay, if this author wasn't intending for this to be like a grown-up Daphne from Scooby-Doo, then either my brain, I'm making connections that aren't there anymore, or it's like the biggest coincidence in the world. But I'm very excited for this one. This one is really interesting because she comes to this small town to officiate a funeral, and the deceased disappears before making it to the grave. I don't even know where to start with that one, but I'm very curious, and I love this cover. It looks very springy to me. Another one I'm so excited for is A Tea Room for Two by Susan Page Davis. This is the Tea Room Mysteries. I bought this used a while ago. This is a guidepost book, and it takes place in Maine. And I believe this is book one in the series. Yes, it is. Oh, look at this opening page. Is that not beautiful, that font? I love fonts. I don't know if that's like a really weird random little fact about me, but I just adore the artistry that goes into like beautiful fonts. I just love it. So this one involves two cousins who purchased this Victorian home in Maine, and they're taking a page from their grandmother and opening a tea room. I guess their grandmother had a tea room, I'm assuming. And they start to buy some teapots and things at some markets nearby, like antiques and stuff. And they purchase this beautiful teapot, and this woman wants it back for some reason, and even tries to break into the house to get it. Little extreme there, but I'm so excited. I've heard some great things about this series. It's a pretty quick read. It's 300 pages. I think this is the most beautiful, just this book cover. It sings to my soul. I love how it looks. And then I recently picked up at a book sale, which I don't think this video will be up, but you will see it soon, is The Widows of Malabar Hill by Sujata Massey. This is a mystery of 1920s Bombay. I believe, to the best of my knowledge, this is cozy. It is a historical mystery. And our main character in this is Praveen, and she's the daughter of like a well-respected family, and she's actually the first female lawyer in India in the 1920s, which is amazing. And she has some kind of past that makes her especially passionate about women's rights and children's rights and like advocating for them. So she's trying to do that with her lawyer job, and there is some kind of situation where these women become widows in Malabar Hill, and somehow they've all like signed off to give their wealth to charity, but this makes absolutely no sense, and this seems like there's some forgery going on, and these women would be desolate without any money left from their husbands. So it's kind of like, it doesn't make sense. So she's going to be investigating that. I don't know if this is actually a murder mystery. I'm not sure. But I am very excited for this. This has been an author who I've been meaning to read for a while, completely new to me, and I do love a historical mystery here and there, especially 1920s. I feel like that's just such an interesting time period. Another one I'm so excited for is Beyond a Reasonable Doubt, a Sloane Cross mystery series by Ellie Alexander. I started these a year or so ago, really enjoyed them. It takes place in Leavenworth, Washington. Our main character is Sloane, and she is bouncing back from a failed marriage in the first book where she finds her husband in the throes of stuff with another woman, and obviously isn't very happy about that. They do have a child together, which I really like the relationship, and she starts working at this microbrewery in town. And I was really pleasantly surprised because I don't personally drink. I'm not super interested in brewing, so it's not like an interest, like it's not a topic I would have picked up on my own. But Ellie Alexander's writing is so beautiful, and I love her other series, so I'm glad I gave this one a shot. And this one takes place during a Winter Lights festival, and her partner Garrett at the microbrewery are experimenting with Hoppy Holidays, like beers and stuff, which is really fun. And then there is some kind of politician in the area who gets murdered, I believe, and that's kind of our premise. This whole town is Bavarian themed, which is amazing. So I'm really excited to return to this lovely town. This next one takes place in September, but I didn't get to it last fall, and I can't wait until next September. So this is called Death Around the Bend, a Lady Hardcastle mystery by T.E. Kinsey. I think this is book 3, and this is also a historical cozy mystery series. It takes place in England, September 1909, and Lady Hardcastle and her maid Flo or Florence have the best banter ever. They're hilarious. They also have kind of a secret past together, which I don't want to give away, but it's very interesting. In this one, they're invited to this local lord's estate for the week, and there's going to be all these events and like races, and then one of the racing car drivers gets in a crash, but it might not have been an accident. So I'm very excited to return to this world. It's been way too long for this, and I'm so excited. I mean, their banter, top notch. And if you are someone who likes like kind of more golden age mysteries, even though this one is being written like currently. It is like a modern cozy in terms of when it was written. This one has those golden age mystery vibes, which I really like. Okay, and then last one for pure cozy, although I do have some kind of cozy ones in the mystery section as well. This one is Quilter Innocence by Elizabeth Craig. It's the first in the Southern Quilting Mystery Series, and there is a corgi on the front here. As far as I can tell, that is a corgi, and I am so excited. And this one involves a retiree. I'm not sure of her exact age, it just says she's a retired folk art curator. Her name is Beatrice and she's retiring to this small town in North Carolina. She is the newest member of this like village quilting guild, and there's this quilting shop in town that is under like duress because the landlord is trying to raise the rent significantly and no one really likes the landlord. And the landlord herself is a quilter, so you think she'd, you know, throw a bone? No, not at all. And the landlord isn't very nice. Of course, she ends up murdered and people get involved in this case. I'm so excited because I've heard some really wonderful things about this. I have no idea what time of year this takes place in, but I'm really excited to read it. Okay, and then mysteries. So I have general mystery, I have some historical, I have some classic, just kind of a mix of mystery. This one, I don't even have an explanation for. As you can see, I'm like a third or so of the way into this, and I was enjoying this, but I got distracted and then I never picked it up again. And I honestly was really enjoying it, so it's nothing against the book. But I'm putting it on this TBR to give myself a purpose to finish it. And this is called Thin Ice by Paige Shelton. This is on my read it or on haul it list for the year, which I'll link above if you haven't seen it. These are books that I have to read by the end of the year or I will donate them. And I've been meaning to get to this for a while. This is like a general mystery. It's not cozy, which Paige Shelton is usually cozy. This one's a little bit more graphic, certainly, and darker themes. But this writer actually escapes from a kidnapper and then flees to the small town in Alaska to hide because her kidnapper is still at large and not captured. And then I think there's some kind of murder that happens in town that she gets involved in. So I'm very excited for this. It does actually take place during the summertime, which it's hard to tell with the cover, of course, with the snow, but I am just really excited, and it feels, even though it is technically taking place in the summer, it feels like a winter cozy to me because of the snow on there, so I do want to knock this one out. This next one was on my fall TBR and I didn't get to it, so I've checked it out from my library again and we're gonna retry. And this is called A Lethal Lady by Nekasa Afia. This is a Harlem Renaissance mystery. And our main character in this is Louise, and she's had a pretty rough few years. It's 1928 and she's actually in Paris trying to get a start at a new life, trying to kind of heal from some past things that happened in the books. I would definitely read this series in order. I did, and there's definitely, you need the context to read this in order. But she is enjoying the art scene in Paris, and this mother comes to her asking for help finding her daughter, and Louise initially refuses because she's really trying to get out of the sleuthing business, but then the mother has like a recommendation letter or something from one of her friends, like Louise's friends back home, and she agrees to help. So she gets involved in this world of like art theft and stuff like that, which I find so fascinating, like heists and artwork and counterfeiting, all that sort of thing. I find so interesting, so I'm so excited to return to this. And how I can't get over the covers in this series. Every one is more gorgeous than the last. I really, really love the dresses in these. And then speaking of my read it or on haul it list, I have The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie on this. I just feel like this would be a really fun read. This is an Hercule Poirot one. It is, of course, one of her most well-known books, and I'm just really excited to dive in. I really don't know anything about the plot. I want to go into it blind, but this is on my TBR to hopefully knock out this spring. And speaking of Miss Christie, I have The Mystery of Miss Christie by Marie Benedict, which is a historical fiction mystery about when Agatha Christie actually disappeared for like 9 days or something in real life, and she was like discovered at a spa, and people don't know if she was like running away from like her husband and her husband's affairs, if she was trying to cause drama. I don't know what she was trying to do. It says here, in December 1926, Agatha Christie goes missing. Investigators find her empty car on the edge of a deep, gloomy lake. The only clues, some tire tracks nearby and a fur coat left in the car. And her husband and daughter have no idea of the whereabouts. It's 11 days later that she reappears. So this is kind of an exploration of what this author thinks could have happened during those 11 days. And I am very excited. This cover, so gorgeous. I found it at a used bookshop, and I personally am really fascinated by Agatha Christie, so I thought this would be fun. And then lastly, for general mystery, I have Chaos, Desire, and a Kick blank Cupcake. This is a Sophie Katz novel by Kyra Davis. So she was at the Cozy Mystery Festival in Ashland when I went, and this is when I picked up the book. I have it signed by her, and she was absolutely lovely, just like an amazing speaker. But she kind of describes herself like, this is kind of like an edgy cozy mystery, as you can tell. I mean, there's a bit of cursing in the title, so that's why I'm including this in the general mystery category, and I'm very intrigued by this. So our main character in this is Sophie, and she is a dabbling amateur sleuth and mystery writer, and her boyfriend is a private investigator, and he's working on a stalker case. Sophie gets involved in it, and then she becomes a victim of the stalker where she's being stalked, and I am just very curious. I feel like this is going to be very witty and funny just based on how the author described it. I wish I could remember the exact way she put it, but it just sounded amazing. And I'm so curious to try this out. This was one of the few authors from the Ashland Cozy event that I hadn't got to read before attending, so I'm really excited to read Kyra Davis. Alright, moving on to thrillers. So I have been having just an absolute love of B.A. Paris's writing. This will be my third by them, and this is called The Therapist. You're going to need to talk to someone. And I loved Behind Closed Doors and The Breakdown from this author. Both of those were such intense psychological thrillers, like on the edge of my seat, couldn't put it down. So I'm very excited for this one. So our main character in this is Alice, and she and her husband or partner, Leo, move into this really nice, rich, gated community, and she starts to realize that there's a lot of secrets in this area and that she's feeling a strange connection to the woman who lived there before, Nina, the therapist. And there might be something strange about why Nina's no longer there. She starts to dig into that. I am very curious. B.A. Paris has me on a grip hold. I have loved everything so far by this author, so I'm so excited to read this. This next one absolutely terrifies me. It's called Do What Godmother Says by L.S. Stratton. Look at this cover. So chilling. So this one has, it sounds like, two storylines. We have a modern day writer and a Harlem Renaissance artist. So we have the modern day writer who's clearing out like her grandmother's attic, and I think she comes across some kind of painting or work by this Harlem Renaissance artist. She starts to dig into it. And then the Harlem artist is named Estelle, and she was taken in as a patron by the godmother, who has this very scary reputation for really maybe asking too much of her artists or being very controlling, and she was actually murdered, and then Estelle vanished shortly after. So coincidence? I don't know. And then the kind of modern day writer character feels like she's being stalked, feels like she's being watched. I am so excited for this. Very interesting, and I do love a good like past and present like timelines in my thrillers, and like I mentioned in the mystery section of this video, I love art heists. I love anything to do with art, counterfeiting. I don't know. I find that stuff very interesting, so if there's anything like that. Then I have this beautiful arc that I was very kindly sent by an author last fall. I believe it came out in the fall. I didn't get to read it right away, so I'm sorry, but I am going to read it now, and this is called The Grays of Truth by Sharon Vertz, who actually illustrated the front cover. Look at that. So not only did she write the book, but she illustrated this, which is just incredible. I'm not sure, this might actually, it says in Reconstruction era Baltimore, so this actually I think is a historical like true crime kind of mystery thriller. I'm not sure, it seems like it kind of blends a few genres, so I'm not sure if it's more mystery or thriller. I will let you know when I read it. So Jane is a chemist, which I really love, and basically her husband Ned visits a family member's house and then dies unexpectedly, and then Jane goes to visit that family member, and her daughter becomes very ill in the house, and she starts to wonder, is there something wrong with this house? Like, is there some kind of chemical? Like, is that making people sick? And Jane is haunted by a history of delusion, loss, and institutionalism, and there's a bunch of unexpected and devastating deaths that begin to multiply. Can she even trust her own mind? I don't know, but I'm really excited. This just sounds so interesting. Thank you again to the author and their publisher for sending this to me. I do appreciate it, even if I don't get to it in as timely of a manner as I was hoping to. One that I bought used from my library that I'm excited for is The Girl in the Rearview Mirror by Kelsey Ray Dimberg. This is the cover. I think this cover is absolutely just gorgeous. So this actually takes place in Phoenix, Arizona, which is fun because I do live in Arizona. Our main character is Finn, and she becomes the nanny to Phoenix's first family. Basically, the husband is the son of a senator, his wife is well known, and their daughter is kind of a photo op, it sounds like, which I feel really bad for her. So she starts to really charm the family. She starts to become their, you know, ride or die nanny. She stays late, she helps them, and then she's approached by someone who claims something about Philip's past that is maybe unsavory. And that's kind of our mystery thriller situation. So I'm very curious about this. It just sounds interesting. This is a new to me author, but I just have been dying to read it. This one, it's called What Never Happened, a thriller by Rachel Housel Hall. Rachel Housel Hall. This is the cover here. Wow. Just look at this. It is so perfect for spring with the flowers, like the flowers bordering this. I'm so excited. And this one sounds like it's a serial killer thriller. So our main character is Coco, and she returns to this, like, it sounds like an island, her Catalina Island home. She's relocated, and 20 years before, she was the only survivor of a deadly home invasion. I'm assuming her family was the one that unfortunately didn't make it out. She's returning home because she's got some family business she needs to attend to. Fortunately, her friend in town has some work for her. She's going to be doing obituary writing in the area, and she's managing that, and she starts to track these strange deaths on the island, and then she receives her own obituary in the mail as like a threat. I would run screaming the other way. There is no way I am such a chicken. Absolutely not. But this is such a great thriller premise. I cannot wait. Sounds incredible. Then I have one by another author who I've really been enjoying, and that is Lisa Unger. This is called Angel Fire. This is supposed to be a really intense psychological thriller. Okay, I feel like so many books are with writer characters. I don't know what, but I'm all for it. So our main character in this is Lydia, and her mother was brutally murdered when she was a child, it sounds like, and this has led Lydia as an adult to become very obsessive about true crime and just solving things. It sounds like the mother's murder was maybe unsolved, and she starts to notice a pattern with some murders in the area that the police don't seem to be picking up on. And she has the help of a former FBI agent who is her friend, and someone starts to actually go after her like they did her mother. So I'm very curious about this. I want to know what the title Angel Fire, like, is there a arson or fire or something in this? I don't know. I don't know if that's like is it like spiritual fire? Like, I'm not sure, but the title intrigues me. The cover is really ominous, and I'm very excited. Then lastly, for thrillers, I have The Stolen Hours by Alan Eskins. This is a new to me thriller author, and I just thought this sounded very interesting. It's a bit of a beat up book because I did find it used, but I'm so excited. So our main character is Lila, and she is trying to become a prosecutor. That's her dream job, when this woman's body is pulled from the river, and it's believed that this photographer is the person who murdered the young woman. But the evidence against him is very slim, and no one can really figure out how he planned it and like got away with it. So it sounds like more of a legal thriller situation, but I'm very curious, and I'm intrigued by the main character's story because it sounds like she survived some kind of attack years before that kind of drives her. So I'm really curious about that. And the title, Stolen Hours. I think that is a really chilling title. Then last but not least, for the other section, I have a nonfiction and a classic. The classic I really want to read is Sense and Sensibility. I bought the illustrated edition from Barnes & Noble recently, and of course this is by Jane Austen, and I'm just very, very curious about this. It's about two sisters. One is kind of representing being sensible, one is more like romantic, throwing a heart to the wind, and I'm just very curious. I haven't read a lot of Jane Austen. I read some in high school. I didn't love it as much, but I'm not sure I was at a point to appreciate it, so I'm really wanting to read it now. And I cannot keep this earring on. And I love illustrations with classics. I feel like it just brings it to life in such a fun way, if I can, which helps me to kind of keep reading, especially if the writing's maybe a little slower paced than I'm used to. And then for nonfiction, I have The Power of Daily Practice by Eric Maisel, who has a PhD. This is summarized on the cover as how creative and performing artists and everyone else can finally meet their goals. And as someone who is a pretty creative person, I work as a freelance writer full-time, and then I love creating YouTube content. I'm just really curious about this, The Power of Daily Practice. The person who's writing this is a creativity coach, therapist, and acclaimed author. And he's worked with best-selling writers, entrepreneurs, musicians, actors, visual artists, recovering addicts, and rehabilitation patients to approach a daily practice, and goes on to help you build a version of this important discipline in your own life. So I'm just really curious. This sounds like a nonfiction kind of self-help book that's right up my alley. I really love structure, routine, planning. I'm very type A, and I do think daily practice is super important. So I just picked that up on a whim, I think, when I was in Ashland, and I was like, I want to read this. And that is my spring TBR. Wow, I feel like this video was very long. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know what is on your spring TBR. What are you looking forward to reading? I would love to hear from you. And if there's anything that you want me to prioritize reading in a vlog or something like that, anything you're especially excited about, let me know. I am so excited to get reading. I'm just so excited. I love to read, so this is gonna be really fun. And happy almost spring, you guys. If you like mystery content, I hope you'll hit subscribe. I do post new book content every week on my channel. Anything from cozy, murder mystery, thriller. If you like mysteries, you're in the right place. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know what you are going to be reading this spring. I'll see you guys soon. Bye!